online shopping this St. Patrick's Day and you don't want to spend all your green, get the best deals on everything you need at Amazon.com. Find everything under the sun and much, much more. And help support Rob as a podcast when you start your shopping at robasawebsite.com/Amazon, or for our friends in Canada, robasawebsite.com/AmazonCA. Coming to you live from my apartment, which is the name of my studio. It's Rob as a podcast. And now, here's the guy who is suffering from an extreme case of March Pladness, Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody, and welcome. And I am back here in the studio, ready to talk about some Survivor voicemails, which we didn't get to during the week. Last week, of course, went to New York for the live know-it-alls and my cousin's wedding. But now, I am back here, ready to get going, and ready to continue our ongoing coverage of Survivor 30. And here with me is a man who I spent a lot of time talking with over the last 2 weeks. He was my co-host on our post-show recaps of House of Cards. Here he is, joining us on the Survivor podcast to talk about your voicemails. Here's Mr. Zach Brooks.
Rob, America Works got me a new job.
Yes. America Works is going to get you on Survivor voicemails. All right, I'll try to keep of course, no House of Cards spoilers coming up here. But if you do want to hear Zach and I talk about all 13 episodes of this past season of House of Cards. Also, we did the full podcast for season 2 of House of Cards. All that's on post-show recaps. You can go ahead and check that out as well. If you want to subscribe to that podcast, go to postshowrecaps.com/HOC iTunes. All right, Zach, how you doing?
Oh, I'm pumped up. I'm excited.
Yes, okay, pumped up. I know we saw you in New York. You were at the live Know-It-Alls show. You live in the D.C. area. How was your trip back home?
Oh, the trip back was fine. The trip up, our bus was delayed by like an hour, but coming back was easy.
All right, and you had a good time in New York?
Yeah, I had a great time. It was so much fun getting to meet lots of people who I've like tweeted with or listened to in my earbuds. It was cool to actually put some faces to the voices.
Good. And lots of fun in New York. And now people are tweeting me up the wazoo about a Chicago event.
Well, I mean, I'm from Michigan originally, so I could make a Chicago event. I'd be down.
You think it would play?
Oh, I think it'd be great. I think it would play anywhere. I think you could do like an Iowa event if people would come.
Yes. Well, they're busy in Iowa. They're getting ready for all the candidates to come in.
Yeah, you can hop on that. You can hop on that bandwagon.
Should some candidate who is really trying to get some support, should they consider adding me to their ticket?
Like the White House know-it-alls?
No, like the worst candidate that has no traction whatsoever. Could they get a ripple from the RHAP bump?
Oh, I mean, especially if you released a podcast every day leading up to the election.
Yes, of course, that is exactly what we're doing on our Road to the Podcast Awards series, where we are getting ready. About a week remains in voting for the Podcast Awards, and we would greatly appreciate your support as we are nominated for not one, but 2 Podcast Awards for Best Entertainment and the Championship of the Podcasting World, the People's Choice Podcast of the Year. Very exciting stuff.
That's not the best overall, right? It was People's Choice?
Yes.
Sexiest podcast? Was that what Nicole thought it was?
No. Yes. I asked Nicole, we've been doing these series for the last 14 days, if she could name what were the 2 awards that I'm nominated for this morning on the most recent Road to Podcast Awards. And she struggled with that, predictably. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, man. It's a good 2 minutes.
All right. It was very fun, yes. And anytime I could give her a good 2 minutes, yada, yada, yada. All right, so, Zach, we're here to talk about the voicemails. Of course, I spoke with Spencer on Thursday morning, and we talked about what happened in the episode, but we didn't get a chance to talk about the voicemails, so we're going to do that. The first of 2 voicemail segments coming up on a big Survivor week. It's a 2-hour Survivor podcast this week. We'll have our live know-it-alls 1 hour later at 10:15 p.m. I saw the commercials during sports yesterday, and they said it was a 2-hour Survivor event coming up.
Oh, man, it's an event. I got to be there.
Survivor event. So check out our 1-hour know-it-alls event. That's going to be Wednesday at 10:15 p.m. Eastern. And then I also have been told I will be having 2 exit interviews on Thursday morning. So look for that as well. And then I will have our big recap podcast with Dale and Kelly Wentworth. It's a podcast event. 2 guests.
Wentworth sandwich.
Is it a sandwich? I don't know about that.
Yeah, I guess it's not really a sandwich.
Yes, it's more of a double stack Wentworth.
Yeah.
It's a double Wentworth.
You're the butter or the syrup on top.
I don't know what that is. But we will be speaking with 2 Wentworths, 1 podcast.
There you go. That's the hashtag already.
All right. So we'll do that on Thursday coming up. So this is going to be another big week. Okay. So, Zach, we're getting into the voicemails, but I thought it might be a fun game to play. I know that you are a big college basketball guy.
Huge. This is my favorite time of year.
Your favorite time of year. I know you're all pumped up. Right now, as we're recording, this is Selection Monday.
Yeah, I think they actually have a name for it, like Bracket Monday or
Bracket Monday. Everybody's filling out their brackets.
All right. Yeah, Office Not Productivity Monday, I think, is another something like that.
Good.
There's a name for it.
Well, that's a perfect day for Rob as a podcast because I thought it might be fun. Of course, everybody is trying to fill out the brackets, and you have the 4 fields of 16. Now we're down to 15 players on this Survivor season, but I thought it might be fun if you and I filled out our RHAP Survivor bracket and filled out our field of 16 remaining here on Survivor One World.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm sorry, Survivor Worlds Apart. My bad.
I like it even more.
Yes, it's an even better idea to talk about the season that's going up. So here's what I want to do. All right, so let's figure out the seeding. And I don't know if we have to fill out the bracket because I feel like, but we could do that too, I guess, depending how fast this moves along. But I think the seeding is going to be much more interesting. Now, of course, I think we have to eliminate So Kim. So Kim is going to be out.
Okay,
she's out. She's the 18th seed, and she's on the outside looking in. She's in the NIT.
Yeah, she got the NIT bid. Congrats.
She's going to the NIT, and her and Malcolm will be in the NIT.
Yep, have fun together.
All right. So what I want to do is let's figure out the seeding of the remaining players in the game.
So what, we have the 17 or the 15 that are still left?
And then what I want to have first off, so 16, I'm going to have Nina and Vince square off in the play-in game.
Oh, the opening round.
Yes. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, that's. I always say I'm not going to watch the play-in games, and I always do. So okay, I'm down with that.
So are we going to just tell us who the number 1 is, or are we going to rank from the bottom up?
I think we should go bottom up.
Okay, let's do
add some suspense.
Okay, so Nina plays Vince in the 1/16 game. Okay, so that's
in the 16-16 game.
That's right. Nina or Vince. Okay, so who's number 15? That's going to square off against the number 2 seed.
I think it's got to be Will Sims.
Will Sims too. All right, now are we factoring this considering what could happen with a swap, or do we feel like he's not looking good either way?
I think we should say what it's like as of right now, because the swap's just going to make it extremely complicated.
Okay,
we can factor that in.
I think we could say he's doing bad now, but post swap he could be pretty good.
So he could be a Cinderella post swap.
Yes, he could be Cinderella. That's right.
Cinderella Will Sims too. All right.
Yes. Okay. So that is Will Sims. So we'll have him as 15. 15 is Will. Who's 14? Who's the next worst?
I think it's Dan Foley.
Dan. Is he worse than Mike?
I think so. Mike was my winner pick. Okay. So, yeah, I got to roll with Mike just a little bit, even though I don't think he's going to win anymore.
Okay, we'll keep rolling with him. Okay, who's 13?
Oh, 13.
Even though her cousin came to Live Know-It-Alls, I feel like...
oh, no, I loved her cousin. Her cousin was so cool.
Oh, her cousin was cool, but I'm not sure if she's in a great spot.
You gotta get cousin points. All right, yeah, we can put her at 14.
Because I feel like the swap could be problematic also, because I feel like that Shireen is not so great right now, but I feel like she could be in a worse situation. Like, I feel like what's sort of saving her is the alliances that she has, and after a swap, they could say, okay, well, she's not really going to be somebody who's strong in the challenges, even though she did do well in that water challenge.
Yeah, I don't know. She seems like a savvy player, though, and I think she might work the swap all right.
Okay.
I think the swap actually could benefit her.
Okay, well, she could be pull off an upset in the tournament.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay, who's 12?
12, let's see, maybe Lindsay? Or Mike?
Well, Lindsay at least has allies, where Mike is pissing people off.
And the 12 upsets the 5. Every year there's a 12 that upsets the 5.
Okay, so
we'll put my winner pick there. Maybe you can pull the upset.
All right, we'll see how that goes. All right, so let's put Lindsay at 12 for the sake of moving this exercise along. All right, who's at 11?
Just because we haven't seen her at all, maybe Sierra?
Yeah, I feel like we have the invisible blue collar people. Yeah, I think Kelly can't be far behind.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Actually, I think we have to put Mike below. I know
we put Mike at the 12, right?
No, I had Lindsay at 12, but you want Mike? Mike is at 12?
Yeah, Mike at 12.
Okay. Lindsay is 11?
Yeah.
Sierra is 10?
Well, I do kind of like Sierra versus Kelly in the 8-9 spot. Because they're kind of similar.
Huge. That would be huge. Okay, so let's see if we can stack that. Where we have, so who's 8? 8 is Kelly and 9 is Sierra?
Yeah.
Alright, so now we have to shoehorn somebody in for the 10 slot?
For the 10. And I got a couple ideas. You got Rodney.
Yeah.
I got Walk.
Yeah, let's put Walk in there.
Alright.
Walk is 10, Sierra is 9, Kelly is 8, and then you want to get to Rodney at 7?
Yeah, I like Rodney at 7.
Boy. Okay, so top 6, baby.
Top 6. So who do we got left? We have the 3 no-collar people left.
Yes.
And Max, Tyler, and who's this? Oh, and Carolyn.
Yes. All right. I think that, boy, have we totally?
I think those no-collar people are in trouble if they get split up in the swap.
Yeah, I think so as well. So we have Max,
So's already
Carolyn, and we have Tyler.
Yeah, So's already out, Rob.
Yeah, So is out. She's in the NIT. And then we also have Max, Carolyn, Tyler, and then we have Joe, Haley, and Jen. I feel like Haley and Jen are kind of high up here in the top 6. I believe we can slot them at 5-6.
Okay, I'm alright with that.
Alright, who's the 5, who's the 6?
Oh, let's go with Haley at the 5, Jen at the 6.
Haley is at the 5, Jen is at the 6. I might swap them, but I'm not going to nitpick.
I only like that because we get a Haley versus Mike matchup in the first round.
Okay. All right, and then let's go. Who's our top 4? Carolyn has an immunity idol.
Yeah, so Max is 4.
Max is 4. Okay, and then 3 is who?
I feel like the immunity idol, especially in a swap where nobody knows she has it, that really helps Carolyn out. So I'm going to say Joe at 3.
Joe is at 3. Carolyn is at 2, and Tyler is at 1.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. All right. So let's look at our matchups here and figure out who's advancing. All right. In our okay, so who's advancing? Nina or Vince?
I'm gonna advance Vince because Vince just would have been such good TV if he could have stuck around.
Yes, I think that it's Vince over Nina. I think that it's almost like going to Redemption Island. He gets to come back, so he's back in, and he squares off against Tyler, 116.
For all the coconuts.
Yes. Okay, who's advancing?
Tyler. The 16's never beaten the 1. For those of you who don't know how to fill out a bracket, there's your 1 tip. 16's never beaten the 1, and it's probably not going to happen this year.
Well, what if it was Tyler versus Vince?
I still think Tyler wins.
Okay. All right. So our 9-8 matchup is Sierra versus Kelly.
Oh, man. This is a coin flip. This is why 9-8 is always a coin flip. We've seen Kelly more.
Yeah, I think it's Kelly.
Sierra.
I think it's Kelly.
Not so purple Kelly.
Not so purple Kelly. Okay, so they advance. Okay. Our next matchup is what?
So that is
that's 5-12. Okay.
So that's our Mike versus Haley.
Mike versus Haley.
I'm going Mike.
Yeah.
Mike works hard.
I like
good in the challenges. I like Mike.
I like it. Wow. Upset City.
There we go.
I worked hard. I got an upset.
He had an upset stomach when he ate the lizard or the scorpion.
All right. Now this is our 13-4 game.
Yeah. So you got to remind me who we had at 4. With Max at 4, right?
Shireen versus Max. First round matchup.
Oh boy. Oh, this is like Kentucky versus Louisville or Indiana versus Purdue. This is great.
Wow. Okay. Shireen versus Max. Who you got?
I'm getting the Shireen cousin bump. I want to go Shireen.
Shireen knocks off Max? Boy, I don't think you see a lot of 4-13 upsets.
It happens from time to time.
Happens from time to time, though. But, I don't know, Max has almost been hardly seen in the last episode. Shireen, I felt like there was some negative vibes coming her way in the episode.
I don't know. I thought her monkey sex stuff, which I'm sure we'll talk about at length today. I enjoyed that. I thought that was funny. It painted her as kind of a quirky character. We're not seeing any of Max except all of Max. So
I don't know. I feel like I have a hard time seeing where Max is voted out in these next in this 2-hour Survivor event.
Yeah, I mean he's probably sticking around. All right. I mean, we can go with Max.
Yeah, I think it's.
We gotta compromise at some point.
Gotta compromise. Okay. All right. Next one is this is now 3-14.
This is 6-11.
6-11. Okay. All right.
So what do we have at 6?
6-11. This is Jen versus Lindsay.
Ooh. And Jen was the 6th?
Jen is the 6th seed.
Yeah, I think Jen.
Okay. So Jen moves on. Okay. Now what's our next matchup?
Now we have our 3-14.
Okay, our 3-14. This is now Joe versus Dan Foley.
Oh, what a matchup!
Yeah.
I don't know. You think Dan can pull the upset here?
No. No, I do
You think
not.
Dan makes some bad jokes on his way out?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's about right. Okay, so Joe advances. Who's next?
Next we have our 7-10.
7-10. That is Rodney is 7 versus Joaquin. Oh wow, what a matchup!
Walk versus Rod.
Yes. Okay, who do you got?
Oh man, this is gonna be a battle. This is gonna be one of those overtime matchups that's just that everybody's watching, everybody's on the edge of their seat, and I think Walk pulls it out.
Wow, Walk. Moving on.
I think Walk is going to be able to slick talk his way when he gets with some new people after the swap.
All right, and then this is the big 15-2 matchup. This is Carolyn versus Will Sims 2. Ironically, Carolyn is the 2 seed. So this is Carolyn versus Will Sims 15 seed.
Carolyn.
Okay.
I mean, Immunity Idol. I mean, that's like a bye. You know, she's moving on.
All right, here we go. So now this is in our top part of the bracket. We have Tyler, the 1 seed, versus Kelly, the 8 seed.
I think Tyler's still moving on.
Tyler heads to the final 4. Now we have it's Mike, who is the upset special, the 12 seed. He's moved on. He's facing Max, who's number 4 seed.
Oh man, the Scorpion versus the Professor. I don't know. I probably Max, but I like Mike. Mike could do it.
I think that's quite a Cinderella story to move on from the 12 seed.
You know, it's not midnight yet, maybe.
I don't know. Let's move on. Max is going to move on. He's going to move on to the final 4 in the brackets. All right. Jen, who's the 6th seed, versus Joe, who's the 3 seed.
Oh man, a battle of the alliance.
Yeah.
I think Joe is seen as more of a threat than Jen. Jen might be able to float her way.
You like Jen in the upset special over Joe?
I mean, I don't want it to be all the top 4 seeds at the end. That's no fun.
Okay.
That's like how I fill out my brackets a lot. I'm like, oh, I got too much chalk in this bracket. I got to pick a couple up.
All right, so Jen advances over Joe and Joaquin versus Carolyn, the 2 seed versus the 10 seed.
Oh man, you know this one could go either way. Carolyn's got the immunity idol. Nobody knows. Joaquin's definitely seen as more of a threat. So let's go Carolyn.
Okay, here we go. Okay, final 4 matchup. Who's gonna go for the championship? Tyler versus Max. Brain versus Brain.
Oh man, battle of the alliance
versus the 4 seed.
I think the 1 seed's rolling on.
Okay, Tyler is rolling along, and then it's Jen versus Carolyn.
I think that immunity idol luck runs out. I think Jen.
Wow, Jen, what a story. They go from the 6th seed, and then it's Tyler versus Jen in the championship.
Yeah, wait till you see Jen Cinderella.
Down the nets.
Yeah, she's going to have a Cinderella run in Miss Survivor next year, I think, too.
Wow. You're saying Jen over Tyler?
No, I think Tyler's winning.
Okay, the 1 seed wins it all.
Yeah, the one seed, just like how it's going to be this year. The one seed wins it all.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if that was fun or not. Was that fun?
Yeah, I think we needed a third person to balance out the ties, but
yeah, maybe we should have just made the bracket and let people decide.
Yeah, well, people can tell us in the comments that we're wrong. That's fine.
I'm sure they will. All right, so before we get to the voicemails now, I just want to take a moment to thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. Those are our friends over at Bombas Socks. And boy, you definitely could use socks not only when you're out there on Survivor because it's cold, but anytime. You got to keep those feet warm.
Yeah, and Bombas are great. I got a lot of pairs of Bombas.
And Zach, you were telling me before the show you are an actual fan of Bombas. This is not product placement.
No, I've bought maybe 6 or 8 pair of Bombas socks.
Why?
They're great. They look cool. They're comfortable. I feel like I like to wear them when I work out. They're great for working out. So
yeah, why? What is it that's so good about them? Let people know that you're being serious.
I really am serious. They have I don't know all of the features that they have. I don't remember their whole spiel, but they have the ankle support.
Yes.
And the moisture wicking technology, I think, is part of what they have.
Honeycomb stitching.
It really is honeycomb.
Yes, that's right. And so they keep the socks up where they're supposed to be and make sure that the toe seam is always in the right place. And they make sure that they feel great and stay with you the whole day.
Yeah, no, they're great. And I've been wearing them to the gym for months now, and they don't smell or anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's the no smell, no tell sock.
No smell zone.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead and check out a pair of Bombas that are going to feel great on your feet all day. And they don't only feel great, they also help people out because with every pair of Bombas that you buy, they're going to donate a pair to somebody in need because socks are the #1 most requested item at homeless shelters. So right now, if you go ahead and for a limited time, they are going to give you 20% off your first order with free shipping. Go to bombas.com/RHAP. So get 20% off on the most comfortable socks on the planet and get a pair to someone who's in need. Go to bombas.com/RHAP. That's bombas.com/RHAP. All right, Zach, are you ready to get into the Survivor voicemails?
Oh, yeah. I am excited to hear what the listeners have to say.
All right. Since we're talking to a Zach, it's only appropriate that we start with another Zach. Here is Zach Sinclair.
Oh. Hi, Rob. This is Zach from Sydney, Australia. After the first episode, there was a lot of speculation that Messiah were going to self-destruct. But since then, Nagarote have lost the next 2 challenges. If they lose the third, does that mean the Saboka curse is still alive and kicking? Or was it broken by Messiah's first loss? Love to hear your thoughts. Love you, Bay.
Love you, Bay. All right, thank you, Zach. All right, now I'm not sure exactly what we're calling the Curse of Saboka, but I guess for Zach's sake, let's call it, will one tribe in a 3-tribe format always lose 3 out of the 4 first challenges?
I think that when you're on a 3-tribe format and the tribes are so small, when you start losing members, it just takes so much more manpower to work around camp, and you're using so much more energy and possibly getting less food. I think, it's hard to stop the skid.
Yeah, and to be fair, Saboka, while they lost the first 2 challenges, then Jenna Maraska quit, and I don't remember what happened, but I think that they actually won a challenge. They actually did probably the best of the worst tribes of the 3-tribe format because then you have Matt Singh, who just totally got shut out. They went to tribal council every single time before the vote. And then we have in Survivor Cagayan, we had the Brains tribe lose 3 out of 4. So I'm not sure if there really is a curse of Saboka.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it the curse of Saboka. I think it's just being on the wrong end of the 3-tribe format.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the 4th person to go home before the tribe swap will be somebody from the no-collar tribe?
I think we're losing a blue collar.
Blue collar. Okay.
Yeah, I think they've been showing the blue collar really have problems with each other so much. I think that's got to be leading to something. Would be my read on it. But
good. I'm glad you brought this up because we had a lot of questions about this very issue. So let's go to our next one, and this is from Andrew Brockman.
Hey Rob, let's talk about intentionally Matt Singh. With blue collar being so dysfunctional as we saw in the last episode, isn't it better for white and no collar to throw this next challenge so they can get rid of that one player on their tribe that's not loyal to the alliance, with white collar being Shirin, with no collar being Will? And if this is the case, Could we see a battle of who can throw the challenge harder next episode so they can get rid of that liability before the swap ends? Let me know what you think. Bye.
Okay, so should the other two tribes, the white collar and blue collar, should they be thinking about trying to go to tribal council here? And let me just play this other voicemail from Jordan, which is on the same subject.
What's up, Rob? It's Jordan from Vancouver. Tell me I'm wrong, if I am. But the blue collar tribe is the perfect example of a tribe that needs to go to tribal council before the merge takes place to work out some issues. Love to hear your thoughts. Love the podcast. Bye.
So let's specifically frame this conversation in terms of the blue collar tribe. Do you think the blue collar tribe should try to intentionally go to tribal council here to work out whatever issues they have and get rid of anybody that is causing problems for them? Or is that getting too cute, Zach?
Oh, it's way too cute. I think that
hot or too cute?
Too cute, not hot.
Okay.
I think blue collar needs to ride it strong. They don't want the Eliza tweets about them trying to lose. Eliza's going to be mad if they try to throw the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I think ride it out, blue collar. It seems like their problems are really they're really just personality clashes more than huge problems. I mean, compared to some of the other problems we've seen on Survivor in the past. But if we do see white and no collar both trying to lose, it would remind me of when the Brains tribe was trying to throw that challenge when Spencer was shooting baskets against Cliff Robinson.
Well, Braun was trying to throw the challenge, and Brains was so bad that they couldn't even win when the other tribe was trying to throw the challenge.
Yeah, that was the scenario.
Yeah.
But I remember that was hilarious. But.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. So if you're Rodney and the three women, you don't think it's a good idea to maybe throw the challenge and get rid of Dan and Mike since they are probably going to turn against you once the swap happens?
I mean, you just don't know how it's going to shake out. It wouldn't be the worst thing to go to tribal council. It's one of those where if you lose, it's like, that's all right. We can get rid of one of these guys. But I just don't think you should try to get rid of them.
The problem is for that particular scenario to happen, I think those are probably the four players out of any four players in the game. That's like the worst combination for them to be able to predict what's going on. That's like the only group of four people that you can come up with of people that just don't know the show at all between Sierra, Kelly, Lindsay, and Rodney. So if you had like the Brains tribe coming up with that, like like Max and Shireen are like, okay, well obviously the swap is coming up after the fourth person voted off. Whereas you have those four people who really don't know the show particularly well, so they are probably not able to predict what's coming.
Yeah, and Dan does know the show really well because Dan
and Mike do, but I don't think that the other four do.
No, I don't think so. And I think if Dan's getting on everybody's nerves so bad on the blue collar tribe, he's getting on everybody's nerves after the tribe swap. I don't think it's gonna be any different.
Okay, let's take another question here. And let's go to Tim, who has a question about something a little bit different in the edit this season as opposed to some of the more recent seasons that we've seen. You ready?
Yep.
Hey, Rob, it's Tim from Ohio. The season's been interesting in that it's really been edited sort of like an older season where a lot of the focus is on camp life and camp drama rather than strategy. Do you prefer the style editing? Why do you think Survivor is doing this in season 30? Thanks.
All right, Zach. So I touched on this a little bit with Steven, I think, during the know-it-alls, the idea of strategy versus character scenes. And so I'm interested to know from you, have you noticed this as well? And do you think this was a conscious decision on the part of the editors?
I don't know if it was conscious. I've noticed that definitely on blue collar we're seeing more of that. I still think we're seeing a lot of strategy on the white collar tribe. And so I don't know if it's necessarily something that they're intentionally doing or they're just working with kind of what they have. The storyline they have is that Mike is working hard, Mike is going to get wood and is mad that nobody else is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just a byproduct of there not being a ton of strategic things happening right now?
I think on the blue collar tribe it doesn't seem like there's much strategy. I haven't seen much strategy from anybody on that tribe.
Yeah. And I do like that we're getting the character scenes. I do think that stuff is going to pay dividends down the road. I think the other thing that you're noticing is that there have been no reward challenges so far this season. So as opposed to a season where we have either Redemption Island or we have the Hero Arena Duel or Exile Island all that stuff is gone. We stripped that all away, and which is something that I've been asking for a long time. Like, let's just strip it down, get rid of the fluff, and let's get to really know these characters. So, as opposed to maybe just like, the first act, the third act, and then the act that happens after the immunity challenge being about what's going on at camp, and then us having, that second act where we are seeing the reward challenge or the hero arena where people are going to fight, and then have another scene that's about what's going on at Exile Island. We're seeing all this about what's going on with the tribes, living their camp life. And I think that's a really interesting thing. I wouldn't be surprised if we see our first reward challenge happen when we get down to 2 tribes.
Yeah, after the swap.
Yes. And I'm trying to remember if they did this on Survivor Cagayan or not. Do you remember, did we have reward challenges on Survivor Cagayan?
I don't remember, but it definitely, the pacing of the episodes feels different with no reward challenge.
Yeah.
So I want to say this is a new thing.
I also
I can't say for sure.
That they've done with the edit where in every sort of act break where, in between commercials, they have kept it to, we're really just seeing what's going on in 2 camps. Like, as opposed to where a lot of times in the 3-tribe format previously, they went ahead and we see like a little bit of what's going on at each of the 3 camps, where they've sort of worked it out where we're seeing what's going on at only 2 camps, and we've had a longer space or a longer amount of time with each of the tribes.
Yeah, that's true. And we're seeing, each scene is very focused on one thing, whether it's the white-collar tribe searching for the idol, or the big blow-up at the blue-collar tribe, or body surfing at the no-collar tribe. It's very focused what each of the scenes for each of the camps is. And I think another byproduct of not having the reward challenge is that we're also not seeing a scene of the tribe enjoying the reward, which is what we're used to seeing.
Yeah. It looks like to me in Survivor Cagayan, there were no reward challenges in the first 3 episodes. Then there was a reward challenge that was in the 4th episode which was the only one before the swap. So the only one time did they have a reward challenge before. So they've stuck with this format in the first 3 episodes of Survivor Cagayan, although the first 2 were part of 1 episode. It was a 1 2-hour block.
Mm-hmm. So do you think we're going to see a reward challenge in this 4th episode?
I'd be surprised. I feel like, why don't we just ride it out with the 2 tribes? But so I don't think it's necessarily a conscious shift of, hey, let's do more character scenes. I just think that you're noticing them more because we're really getting to know these characters here. There's only 15 people left, and we're spending more time with them. And so we have a better sense of who these people are, with the exception of Sierra and Kelly.
Yeah. And I think
nobody knows who they are.
I feel like the scenes are very intense, dude. I don't know if it was just because I was watching the episode at the live Know-It-Alls surrounded by 300 people, but I felt like every line was delivered with a lot of passion, and the stuff that was funny was really funny, and the stuff that was really dramatic really hit. So, and I watched the episode again last night, and I still kind of felt that power in each scene more than I feel like I usually do when I watch an episode of Survivor.
Yeah, it was really fun watching in the room with everybody. Survivor really does play well in front of an audience. Like, it really does. Like, the jokes hit, and you hear the room laughing, and, somebody, will get hit with something in the immunity challenges, and the audience, totally reacts. And so, it really does play well in front of an audience that not a lot of TV shows necessarily would.
Yeah, is that what watching at a finale is like?
Yes. Yeah, it's very close to the finale atmosphere. And it's really fun, that's probably the only other time that you get to see that outside of something like the live Know-It-Alls, where, you're watching the episode with that big group of people.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed watching it in that kind of atmosphere. It's totally different than what I'm used to.
Yeah, very different. All right, let's take a question here from Daniel, the young Ladiano.
Hey, Rob, guess who's back? Me. So here's my question for you. So I'm going to the survival modes part, the Wikipedia page, and notice there's one name in the whole cast that's actually clickable. Tyler Fredrickson. And lo and behold, I find out that this guy was a professional football player, apparently. Now, I don't know much history about football because you're the aficionado between the 2 of us, but I'm surprised this hasn't been brought up in the show so far. I mean, they made a big deal about Cliff Robinson, Jeff Kent, even Gary Hogeboom, which I know doesn't play anymore.
But the point I'm trying to say is that how come it hasn't been brought up? How come Tyler is able to just, fly in the radar when it comes to being an athlete, and no one has mentioned it or recognized him so far? And my other part of this question is, do you think that Tyler would actually be able to break the athlete curse and move pretty far in the game? So far he's doing well. I just want to see what you think. Thank you very much, and as always, take care.
Now, do you think that Tyler was able to do so well in our bracket because he's an athlete?
I think there's a lot of ex-athletes on Survivor, especially ex-college athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Last season we had John Mish, who went to my university, Michigan State. That wasn't
right.
It wasn't brought up that he was the guy.
Yeah. So, do you think that Tyler will be able to go through the game without anybody recognizing him as a college professional kicker?
I mean, he's a kicker. Nobody knows what kickers look like.
You don't think there'll be like a Danny Boatwright type scene where somebody will say like, "Hey, did you go to USC? Are you Tyler Fredrickson, the kicker for USC?
Didn't you go to Cal?
No, I went to USC, but I didn't kick for them.
Yeah, I mean, I just kicked things down the street.
I kicked things down the street.
I kicked some ass, that's for sure.
I was in a field goal kicking contest at the Pro Bowl. I tried to kick a 50-yard field goal to win a car, but I didn't kick for USC.
But didn't you go to Cal?
Oh, did I have that backwards?
Yeah, I think he went to Cal.
Okay, let's double check that because that could
all the Cal fans are yelling at their iPhones.
Okay, Tyler Fredrickson, Survivor kicker. And I'm so sorry. He beat USC. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Oh my God. There's a flood of emails coming in already. Oh my God, I got that wrong. All right. I didn't go to Cal, but
I definitely did not kick at USC. There's one thing I did not do. I did not kick at USC.
My friend Marilyn Mad Dog Hershey calls me Cal, but that's not my name. All right, so nobody recognizes Tyler because nobody cares about a kicker. I mean, what kicker would have to be on Survivor for people to make a big deal?
I mean, Adam Vinatieri is probably the most famous kicker.
The most famous kicker. And could anybody outside of Boston pick Adam Vinatieri out of the lineup?
No, I mean, most football players, unless they're the quarterback and some of the receivers and running backs, I mean, you don't know what these guys look like. You couldn't pick them out of the lineup. But the difference is guys who aren't kickers are huge guys.
Yeah.
I mean, kickers are, I guess they're taller and their legs are really strong, but this isn't like a huge built guy.
Do you think we will see Tyler's kicking prowess show up in any challenge this season? Will there be a 5-hole challenge?
That'd be really unfair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a Survivor challenge that involves kicking.
No, I mean, they can do a challenge for just about anything.
Kicking. What about the thing that they do with like the slingshot, where you have to go and like catch it with like a lacrosse stick? What about instead of kicking, or instead of a slingshot, you have like some sort of like a place kicking at the kick the hacky sack 50 yards.
Will Sims is literally kicking his tribe out of this challenge.
Yeah. I mean, Nick Falk has been the kicker for the Jets for like 4 or 5 years now. I could not pick him out of the lineup.
No, I mean,
unless he has a jersey on.
Yeah, and I've had Nick Falk on my fantasy team, and I couldn't pick him out of the lineup. So there are, I would say, 0 recognizable kickers, let alone college kickers. Yeah. No, there was a kicker, and I'm blanking on his name. He kicked for the Saints, and he had really curly hair.
Yeah, I would say the only recognizable kickers are the Gramatica brothers.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yes. And they also have a weird name. Was it Martin Gramatica, right?
Yeah, and I think that they got in trouble for alcohol a lot, too. One of them did.
Yes. All right. So, no recognizable kickers. All right. So let's go ahead and take another question. Here is one from Matt Wojcik. You ready for this? Wants to talk about Dan's comments.
Hello, Rob. It's Matt Wojcik from Mineola. With Dan's recent tirade calling Rodney's mother a whore, I was just wondering, are we going to see him on the next episode of Celebrity Jeopardy? And if he does, what does he need to take for 200, and then 400, and then 1,000, Sestorino?
What's the difference between you and a mallet with a cold? One's a sick duck. I can't remember how it ends, but your mother's a whore.
So does that make Rodney the Alex Trebek of Survivor?
Oh man, that puts a whole new spin on this Rodney guy.
Yeah. Now, Rodney, Dan Foley, does not look that dissimilar from the Celebrity Jeopardy Sean Connery.
Yeah, that's true, especially on the most recent SNL, the SNL 40.
Yes. Could Daryl Hammond play Dan Foley in?
Oh man.
You know how I lost my manties now, do you, Trebek?
Wow, Dan Foley.
So does that mean that Dan Foley could give the SNL intro in like a really boring fashion in 10 years?
I think so.
Just asleep giving the intro?
Trebek, did you hear what your mother did to my collar?
Yes, all right. So
took a second.
long way to go.
There it is.
I'd like to hear in the comments some categories that Dan Foley could suggest or could choose on the Celebrity Jeopardy board as well.
Who else would be in Celebrity Jeopardy with Dan Foley from this cast?
All right, so what would it be? Are we trying to pick a character that's Turd Ferguson?
Yeah, let's go that way.
Boy, I'm not sure. I guess Tarzan? Is Tarzan Turd Ferguson, or is that being probably too literal?
No, he looks a lot like him. I'm trying to think of some other of the best mustached survivors. Yeah, I think Tarzan is the right way to go there.
Yeah, I think that works on a lot of different levels for Celebrity Jeopardy. That might be a very fun way to go of casting Celebrity Jeopardy with the survivors.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it would be funny also to see a survivor, like which survivor has treated Tribal Council most like Celebrity Jeopardy, like with Jeff Probst being the Alex Trebek, of just like, this is killing me to be here. Like, write down, like, you're going to go cast your vote for any survivor, doesn't matter who it is. I mean, Fair Play was very disrespectful to Jeff Probst at Tribal Council. I'm trying to think if there's another person that has been nearly as disrespectful to Jeff.
I mean, just in general, the Thailand season, he really did not enjoy those tribal councils. Like when he yells at Clay about writing down the nickname on the card.
Yeah, that moment with the Denver Diva, that's almost a Celebrity Jeopardy. Like whose answer is this? The category was named any person in this tribe, any person at all. Who is Denver Diva? What is Gandia? Gandia's name? That's Denver Diva? Like, no.
So Clay is making our Celebrity Jeopardy.
Yeah, he's kind of the Turd Ferguson.
Or just a turd.
Yeah. No, there are seasons where Jeff is definitely doing the Will Ferrell, Alex Trebek exasperated expressions. Okay.
How about Palau? What about the pre-merge Palau or pre-tribe being decimated Palau? Yeah, the Oolong.
I'm trying to think if Jeff was particularly frustrated with them. There's definitely seasons where Jeff hates one of the tribes, but I'm not sure if Oolong, if he really disliked them.
Well, I mean, it's like when, it's like in Celebrity Jeopardy when they just keep going more and more negative, and he just can't believe what he's seeing.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like Fiji has a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, where Vanuatu's got some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where Jeff is just getting exasperated with a certain group of people.
And another tie, Jeff hosted Rock and Roll Jeopardy before he hosted Survivor.
Yeah. Yes, that's good. Now, is Jeff Probst in the mix to replace the real Alex Trebek?
Oh man, I bet he'd love that.
Yeah. I mean, look, could you imagine that if Alex Trebek was going to step down and they said, well, Jeff Probst, you can stay on the mainland? Is that a possibility that could derail Survivor?
Yeah, but Jeff likes being the host, the talk show host. He doesn't want to just be asking questions and only get that brief time in between segments to talk to the contestants.
That's true. So he wouldn't be like somebody missed the question. Like, no, I'm sorry, that's wrong. So how does that feel when you have a question that you thought you knew the answer, but you didn't? You didn't get it right. And so is that the kind of thing where it's really makes you upset because you're supposed to be the smart guy?
The first ever 3-hour episode of Jeopardy.
Jeff, can we just can I take no, hey, let's get to the bottom of this. You brought it up. Like, no, I didn't. I just want to get to
we're out of time, sorry. I got through one question.
So we have to watch when Blue Collar goes to Tribal Council that we sort of work this all out, that we have to expect Dan Foley to say something very inappropriate about Jeff Probst's mom the next time he goes to Tribal Council.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
I can't remember how it ends, but your mother's a whore.
That gets a really long applause. That's a funny joke, yeah, but that's 10 seconds that they're cheering for that joke.
Yeah, that's right.
They really like it. Really played the audience.
he plays it well. All right, let's take a question here. This is from Jim, and wants to talk about something we've been talking about a bit this season, about the Survivor superfans and how they're performing this season. Here's Jim's question.
Hi, Rob. Jim Schiff from Chicago here. Up to this point, it seems like the superfans of the show, like Max, Shireen, and Dan, haven't played all that well so far. Do you think it's too early to tell whether their knowledge of Survivor will help them in the game? Or is it possible that these three have psyched themselves out already and won't be able to recover? Love the podcast. Thanks.
All right, what do you make of this, about the idea that these super fans have psyched themselves out and are playing badly? Do you think, is this a thing?
I don't know. I mean, we didn't see it with Spencer. Spencer played really well. I mean, he was on a drive to come. But this season, I think this season, they definitely came in and wanted to play hard real fast when they see Max get naked in the second day. But I don't think they played themselves out. I think they've definitely made some mistakes.
Yeah, I think we're pouring some dirt on these guys a little too soon. I think that they've made some errors in how they're being perceived, but I think it's hard to say that, Max and Shireen are playing very badly, and there's evidence to say that Shireen hasn't played well, but there's very little evidence to support that Max hasn't played well, other than to say he got naked. And, other than a passing comment from Tyler, we really haven't seen any of the survivors say that they dislike Max or they want to vote him out. We've seen a little bit from Tyler saying, oh, okay, well, this guy is, this could be Richard Hatch 2.0. But, I mean, that's kind of a passing comment.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't actually think the strategy of Max to want to have a lot of alone time is very smart, because you're isolating yourself away from the rest of your tribe, and so they can plot and scheme against you. But otherwise, I don't think he's playing a bad game.
Yeah. So, I don't think the super fans are playing too poorly. Let's get back to me when I'm doing an exit interview with one of the super fans before Easter.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
And then we'll talk about super fans playing badly. But right now, I feel like, unless you want to count Nina as a super fan, and I'm not sure if we necessarily will, I asked her about Christy Smith. She didn't seem like that she had a great working knowledge of Survivor the Amazon.
So, you said before Easter. Before Easter, do you think, how many of those three will you have talked to?
When's the Easter? Like in 2 weeks?
Yeah, let's say
I think it's in the next 5th. I think it's so. Boy, so who is it? Who is the third? It's Max, Shireen. Who's the third person?
And Dan.
Dan. I think Dan. I think one out of the three I'd talk to before the Easter Bunny comes.
Yeah, I'd say 1 out of 3. I think Max and Shireen are going to do all right.
Yeah,
I think they're super fans. They're trying really hard, but they seem really smart. So
okay,
that'll help.
Let's take a question from Morgan Stradling, who wants to know about the dynamics of the Blue Collar Tribe. Here's Morgan.
Hey Rob, this is Morgan Stradling, and I had a question about the blue collar men. Usually on Survivor, it's the women that don't get along. And men, even though they may be in different alliances, seem to be okay with each other. But in this case, the men are at each other's throats. Anyway, I just wanted to get your thoughts on the situation and where do you think this will lead. Thanks.
That is pretty interesting that we typically see on Survivor, where a lot of times, like, the men are sticking together, and then it's, the women are sort of going against each other. In this instance, we have, it looks like the women are tight, and the men might need to, sort of scrap with each other. Although, coincidentally, in Survivor Cagayan, this was also the dynamic that ultimately ended up forming in the Brains tribe, where Cass, Jatia, and Tasha stuck together, or seemingly, against David Sampson and then Garrett. Although it really wasn't that the three women were together. It was sort of like that Tasha and Jatia were together, and then they ended up bringing in Cass instead of Garrett, and then it looked like they were tight. And then Spencer was able to work it out and to unseat Jatia as the bottom person in that three-person alliance.
Yeah, I think, when you get these 6-person tribes, having a 3-person alliance it's gonna, that's gonna happen, and it's so easy to form the gender alliance. It seems like, we've watched 30 seasons of Survivor, and how many times have we had a men's alliance or a women's alliance? It's just kind of the first thing that sticks out to connect you with somebody else that'll be like you.
Yeah. And so, the gender alliance is a thing. I think that's not crazy to say that, in social situations, it's not uncommon to see the men sort of stick together and the women sort of stick together. That's not crazy to think. So, I don't think there's anything crazy about that being a natural way that tribes sort of, form off the bat on Survivor.
Yeah, and it's like, when you get a 3-person gender alliance, it's almost like first to the mat. The first three-person alliance that gets there, you're not going to have a tie. So if you're the first alliance, you're going to get one of those people that's not in your alliance to jump over, like we saw in the, we saw there's a 3-person alliance on No Collar, and then Will Sims came over. So, yeah. So first to the mat, you're going to have the advantage.
You think those 3 women are in lockstep here?
No, I don't think they don't seem that they're that close. It just seems like it's kind of a marriage of convenience.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I saw AJ Mass this week at the Live Know-It-Alls, and he said, "Hey, after this double episode, we're going to be closing in on 13."
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, there we go. So AJ Mass podcast coming up soon on Robin's podcast. All right, let's do one more question. This is from Chris in Commerce, Texas, who left a lot of questions this week, but this is the one we're going to go with. All right, here's Chris.
Hey, Rob, this is Chris Nichols from Commerce, Texas. My question is, what was Nina thinking when she told her tribe that, hey, guys, maybe you should keep me because I was put on the wrong tribe and I'm nothing like you? Wasn't she just basically telling them that she was going to jump ship as soon as she got an opportunity? Tell me what you think. I'm still trying to make sense of it. Bye.
Okay. That's a fair point. Now, it's hard to really rationalize what people are saying at tribal council, but was the argument that, hey, I just am a white-collar person on a no-collar tribe, was that the wrong way for her to go?
Yeah, that didn't really stick out to me as the wrong thing to say when she said it, but now that he's pointed it out, it totally makes sense. Like, why would you alienate yourself like that?
Mm-hmm.
It did make me think, like, what if they offered a mutiny or something, because this collar dynamic is so interesting. You have these people who are told, you're blue collar, and they say it in all their confessionals, we're the blue collar tribe, we work hard, we're the no collar tribe, we're crazy. And so they start playing into that dynamic so much. It's just like Brains, Bronze, and Beauty, where you're told you're one thing, and so you act like it.
That's interesting, because you couldn't quite do it with, like, okay, we took a tribe of people that were, like, attractive people. We told them that they were ugly. It's like that experiment where it's like, you took people that are, okay, well, these people, we told them they're the prisoners. We told these people they're the guards. And then they were, like, the guards were, like, abusive to the prisoners. Like, they basically, like, because of what tribe they were on, they started acting differently. Interesting. As far as what Nina said, it would probably be better if she was like, hey, I have been a white-collar person, but, I feel like I can be a no-collar. I feel like my no-collar side is coming out. That being said, I have a feeling she knew she was done for at that point, and was sort of like in the sort of like post-game press conference of, the reason why I lost was because I'm a white-collar person, and they put me on a tribe with all these no-collar people, and I can't relate to them.
She really didn't act very no-collar.
She wanted to be asked to go skinny dipping.
Yeah, would she have done it?
No.
She didn't eat the lizard. She didn't go surfing.
Yeah.
she was just kind of there. She was with all those people. She really was the square peg in the round hole.
There you go. All right. So, you ready to talk about some Survivor social media?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. Before we get to Survivor social media, also, I know it's technically social media. I posted a video that I talked about at the end of our last Survivor voicemail segment of a day in the life of what goes into a day of making the Survivor edition of Rob's Podcast. If you want to check out that behind-the-scenes video, first off, make a snack. It's about 25 minutes long. If you want to see what goes into making one episode of Rob's Podcast, and of course, this was a rare time when we split up the voicemails and the main interview. But if you want to see what went into the cast podcast with Jessica Leese from a week ago, you can check out that video at robisawebsite.com/myday. robisawebsite.com/myday. And now, here we go. Are you ready for social media?
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Tweets, baby, tweets. Survivor tweets. They're better than a challenge when Nina actually competes. Tweets.
Yes.
I want to hear the full version of that song. I love that song. Every week.
Better than a challenge where Nina actually competes.
Well, we won't have very many of those anymore.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into talking about some Survivor news this week. Russell Hantz has announced on Twitter. He tweeted to his fans, "I will never play Survivor again. That's all. I love my fans and thanks, but it's over. #Survivor."
Oh, I don't believe that.
That's it.
Nah, he's not hanging up the boots.
Now, again, I don't know if Russell said that he's retiring. I think he might have just maybe read the tea leaves. But yes, Russell says that he will never play Survivor again. He didn't say he's retiring. He's just saying that he will never, stating the fact he will never play Survivor again.
You can't fire me, I quit kind of thing?
Maybe, yes. It's the I'm breaking up with you. So Russell will never play Survivor again. Okay. So some sad news this week. All right. So birthdays since the last time we did this. My guest on Thursday, Dale Wentworth, he had a birthday, and so did Jeff Kent.
Yeah. Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. Brian Heidick from Survivor Thailand. He had a birthday.
Iceman.
On March 9th, and so did Eve Rojas and James Clement, all celebrating birthdays on March 9th. Johnny Fairplay had a big birthday. Johnny Fairplay turned 40 this week on March 11th.
This is 40.
Yes,
Johnny Fairplay.
That was the same day the Survivor Know-It-Alls. How about that?
So is that where Missy and Baylor were?
Maybe they showed up at Johnny Fairplay's birthday instead of at the Survivor Know-It-Alls. Also, this in the last couple days, Grant Matos had his birthday. Grant Matos, only 33. Turned 33 on March 12th. I would have thought he was older.
Yeah, another professional athlete or college athlete at least.
Yeah, I thought he was older than me.
Yeah, young guy, young lad.
Do you think he got a birthday card from Boston Rob?
No, probably not.
Hey, Grant, suck it up. Happy birthday. All right, also, speaking of Redemption Island, Philip Shepard had the same birthday as Grant Matos, former tribe mates. Philip Shepard turns 56 years young for Philip Shepard, for the specialist.
Do you think they knew they had the same birthday? Like, I guess, do you think, like, they talked about that? Is that one of the things that comes up?
I bet it comes up.
Why did they have a birthday alliance?
I don't know. They did have an alliance. I mean, they were both in Stealth R Us.
Yeah, but they could have had the birthday alliance, the ice cream and cake alliance.
Birthday alliances. That's it. And then finally, Kim Mullen, the great Kim Mullen. Her birthday is also this week.
Oh, Kim Mullen. One of the memorables.
Okay. All right. So, let's see. Are you ready for the which is the real Rupert tweet?
Oh, yes. This game's awesome.
Okay. Here we go. What's the real Rupert tweet from this week? Okay, here we go. Tweet number 1. Did Rupert tweet, "When Jeff Probst puts out your fire, that's a long, hard walk when you leave." Okay?
All right.
All right. Number 2. Anyone who didn't see that coming at tonight's tribal council? Okay. Number 3.
So was that a question, or was that?
Yes,
did that end in
question.
Question. All right.
I know it's phrased weird. Anyone who didn't see that coming at tonight's tribal council?
It's kind of a Yoda tweet.
Yeah, there's probably an extra who in there that doesn't need to be in there. Okay.
Yeah.
The game is getting too easy. Wells, lots of food, immunity idols, cheese. What is there to survive? A little existential.
Oh man.
Okay. And number 4. The game is 39 days long, but there can only be one winner. Number 4.
Oh, that's true.
Yes. All right.
So it's between 1 and 3 for me.
All right. So you want to hear those again?
Yeah, let me hear 1 and 3 again.
All right. When Jeff Probst puts out your fire, that's a long, hard walk when you leave. And then the number 3 is the game is getting too easy. Wells, lots of food, immunity idols. Geez, what is there to survive?
It seems a little long for a tweet, so I'm going to go with 1.
Okay, number 1. When Jeff Probst puts out your fire, that's a long, hard walk when you leave.
Long, hard walk.
And that is a real Rupert tweet. Yes. If you're playing along at home, the fake Rupert tweet was the game is 39 days long, but there can only be one winner. Rupert might tweet that this week, but he did not. He did not tweet that this past Wednesday night.
Yeah. That one's a little basic.
Yeah. Well, on the note. All right, so we'll play again next week. All right.
Oh man.
Jervis at Say Jerv, he tweeted, just shooting in the dark here, but YouTube sensation doesn't seem like a very active job, Will.
Huh? I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe Will can sell the what's the head shaver that Jervis
The
sells?
head blade.
Yeah.
Maybe he can make a viral video.
I went to that Headblade site once and I had Facebook ads for like 2 months for that thing.
Jervis is such an advertising mogul.
Yeah, social media.
Okay. Farm Guy 69. He tweeted, the Howler Monkeys win the naked contest. #monkey balls.
Oh my god.
You gonna look at those things?
Oh my god, they were hanging some brain for sure.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I enjoyed that scene. I thought that was really funny.
I would have been right there with Shireen. I would have liked to have seen that. Yes.
Okay. What else are you gonna do? You're sitting out there, you're bored, watch some monkey porn.
Yes. Eliza, she was there in the audience. She caused a big stir on Twitter, tweeting about what color I am, but she also tweeted, I was worried about not being able to hear the show, but apparently 300 Survivor fans can shut up and watch the show. So everybody was behaved for Eliza.
So eloquent.
Yes. Okay. Vetus tweeted, Survivor's a tough game to endure, even with the senses intact. Much props to @Nina Porsche for representing the hearing impaired. Some kneecap sucking on Twitter from Vetus. Yes, some kneecap sucking.
Nina, you should totally come to yoga.
Otis took a different approach. He tweeted, that might have been the most boring episode of Survivor I've ever seen. Also,
come on.
Aris said, Aris is the authority on boring Survivor, right?
Yeah.
I'm teasing. Also, Aris said, plugging holes is my third favorite passion. There you go.
All those
That's a good line. That's a good line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was a strategy with that challenge. I was watching it last night, and I think the strategy is to tilt the bucket backwards and then place your whole palm over as many holes as you can.
Ooh. Okay.
That's how I would have done it. I wouldn't have sent anybody back. I would have done my strategy.
Yeah. All right, here's Survivor Penner. He tweeted, Survivor worlds apart. So one of the white girls didn't vote for Nina? They have no cohesion. Wow, they really aren't communicating at all. I think that was more of a split vote than lack of communication.
So you think they were worried about the idol there?
Yeah, I think that was an issue where they were trying to split the idol. I think that Vince told people that Nina had a fake idol.
A fake idol? That would be
Or a real idol. Also, Penner said, Nina speaks up. Good for her. And yet Haley has a flow going? She's a fascist. What?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Fascist? Wow.
Yeah. And then Penner also said, wow, monkey sex? She's pulling a Dawson. That's a Dawson 1.0.
Oh, man.
Yes. Real Billy Garcia. He tweeted, I know what it's like to have someone I barely know joke with me and tell me we're old buddies. Didn't fly with me either. Who's he talking about?
I don't know. Candace?
I don't know. Was that a joke?
I don't know. They love him.
Yeah.
I love you, Billy.
Okay. And then Billy also said, previously on Survivor, ding-a-ling and hoo-ha everywhere, # Orgy Island. Wow.
That's a different show.
It's a different show. Okay.
It's # Orgy Island. I wouldn't want to see what's tweeted with that hashtag.
Orgy Island?
Don't click that at work.
Is Billy Garcia the first person to use the hashtag Orgy Island? No, he is not. Yes, and that is NSFW.
Shocker.
Not the first time Billy Garcia has used. Now, is that how he got so many Twitter followers?
Follow Friday.
FF Orgy Island?
FF Orgy Island.
Yes, that is that. I think this might be the most NSFW hashtag I've ever looked at Twitter.
Oh man. Yeah, don't go to that at work, definitely.
Yes.
Now, didn't Billy Garcia say he's in a lot of online communities?
Yes. Also, I'm looking at the top tweets for Orgy Island. Billy Garcia nowhere to be found. So he's missed it. A lot of pictures of the Clintons, surprisingly, here. Not to bring this back to our House of Cards chat, but apparently actually Billy Garcia is a little further down. He's right underneath a picture of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton.
How does that work? Did they go on vacation somewhere or something?
Yeah, I think this was a. I think that Bill Clinton was associated somehow with this. That's the House of Cards season 4. Now, I did not ever go to Orgy Island. That is just another one of these lies that you hear about people that Miss Dunbar's trying to throw something at me that I went to Orgy Island. That is not true.
Do we know anything about the Clinton Secret Service?
Yeah, well, I think this is something that has to do with like an airplane and stuff like that. All the kind of stuff that I try not to read about. All right. Yes. All right. Malcolm WHW says, "Dear Survivor contestants, this week we'd prefer if the majority of you kept the majority of your clothes on. Fondly, America."
Yeah, and cover up with that belt if you need to.
Yes. Abby Maria says, "Stop hating on the Shirin people. That talking monkey scene was rad."
It was great. It was hilarious.
Okay. And Julie Berry also said, at Julie Berry 438 says, "Plugging holes? Is that what the kids are calling it?"
Oh no. I'll hold my jokes.
Yeah.
Julie Berry.
There you go. All right. And let's go ahead and get to some tweets from the current survivors.
All right.
Okay. Dan, he tweeted to Rodney_Boston, says, "I love your mama too. # I suck."
Okay. He probably felt bad that got on TV.
Yes.
I'd regret that for sure.
Yeah. Max Dawson also said, "Well, that was a waste of an hour. Somebody text me when the brilliant hot guy with the epic beard is back on the show."
Oh, bad edit. Max already concerned about his edit.
All right. A couple other tweets from the RJP community. Haymaker Hattie tweeted, "Did Rodney just blatantly mess with Texas?" That's a mistake, I hear.
Yeah, Mike's board shorts, very Texas, like almost like Colby made those board shorts.
Yes, I think that Colby's Texas flag was used to construct. It's like that we had Mike and Dan going completely different directions, where Mike said, "I want the biggest bathing suit ever." And Dan said, "Your mother's a whore, and I'll take the smallest manties you can make." That's whatever fabric is left over from Mike's bathing suit. Maybe you could make that into some manties.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's bathing suit kind of shows what his game is going to be, and that's full tilt.
Yes. I only know one way how to make a bathing suit, and that's full tilt. Full tilt. I'll customize a bathing suit for you.
Full tilt bathing suit.
Okay. All right, and then Keith Dixon said, "I feel like the live know-it-alls deserved a better Survivor episode than that."
I thought that was it wasn't a shocking episode, but it was fun.
The episode was fine. It was the boot was on the nose.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but it was, for some of the pre-merge episodes that we've seen, it was fine. I like that we had a lot of laugh out loud moments in the big fight. I'm more pro this episode than most people are, I think.
Yeah, I think that Survivor is always tricky in the pre-merge. Hard to have a great pre-merge episode. Sometimes you just have a little bit when there's a predictable boot, and what are you going to do? So. I don't think it's an indictment on the season or anything like that. I just think it was sort of a one that, in the words of Rupert, anyone who didn't see that coming?
the Yoda question.
Yeah.
When Jeff Probst puts out your fire, that's a long, hard walk when you leave.
Do you think they would have been better served doing the double episode last week?
No, I think there's probably a reason, because it's weird that they're doing the double episode this week, because that Survivor should not be impacted by the March Madness on a Wednesday, correct? I mean, I'm not a bracketologist like yourself, but there is no March Madness that is interfering with Wednesday night, right?
I mean, there is the opening round games, but those aren't on CBS.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Survivor's been impacted by March Madness in a number of years.
It moved it to Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't really understand why they needed to do it. So I wonder if it's the theory that I floated that maybe episode 4 is a boring episode and they don't want people to start saying like, oh, this season is boring. Or if it's something, something happened. Or they just looked at the schedule and they started so late they need to make up. But it's weird that they don't do one episode with 2 boots.
Yeah. No, it definitely seems like they started a little bit later than they usually do.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the double episode because, call Missy and Baylor, but Wednesday night is my birthday.
Whoa! Okay, we'll see if they just show up. Also, I think that the other news that this will do, I think that this is probably going to leave you now with a Survivor finale. If you're trying to make plans to go to the Survivor finale, I'm going to predict RHAP is forecasting a Survivor finale now on Wednesday, May 20th, as opposed to it potentially being on Wednesday, May 27th. So I think that's going to be the last Wednesday before Memorial Day.
Yeah. Getting it in May. There you go.
Getting it in May. Okay. So, Zach Brooks, great job. If you want to hear more of Zach and I talk about politics and not Orgy Island, you can go ahead and listen to our House of Cards recap of all of Season 3 on postshowrecaps.com.
Yeah, it was a great season. I had a lot of fun recapping it with you. We really dug deep.
We really did dig deep. All right. Zach, we need a hashtag for this episode. Do not give us Orgy Island.
Yeah, I don't think we should use Orgy Island. I feel like it's got to come back around to either the March Madness bracket or Celebrity Jeopardy.
Why don't we just go with hashtag Dan Connery?
Dan Connery.
Okay.
All right.
And I wonder where else we can go. Maybe can we give him like a 007 name?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Shaken, not stirred.
Yes, there you go. All right. Follow Zach on Twitter. He's at BrooksZA. And Zach, great job, and good luck on your brackets.
Well, yeah, you too. I hope yours are good.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Yep. Bye.
All right, everybody, there you have it. Zach Brooks here on Rob Has a Podcast on our belated Survivor voicemail segment from episode number 3. All right. We don't have much of a break in between now and the 2-hour Survivor event. I recorded a podcast with Spicin about the very exciting season finale of Marriage Boot Camp Reality Stars with Spencer and Tyson. So you're going to want to check that out on Rob's podcast if you haven't heard what happened in that episode. Some exciting news that came out of that episode of Marriage Boot Camp that we discussed at length on the podcast. Also, we are going to get into our finale coverage of King of the Nerds. I did on my Amazing Race exit interview as well today. Plus, this week we will get into sorting out the new cast of Big Brother Canada. That is coming up as well for you guys later on this week. They're doing basically, I think, 6 people a day or something like that. Over there announcing the cast very slowly. So once we have the full cast announced, we will bring you a preview of the Big Brother Canada 3 cast with our podcast coverage kicking off next week. But probably I'll preview the cast probably something like Friday once we get all of the names announced. So a lot to do. Podcast Survivor Know-It-Alls coming up on Wednesday night, and then all of the post-Survivor stuff coming on Thursday, and then no Amazing Race this week because of March Madness. But still a lot to do here on Rob as a podcast. So, have a good one, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.